Hey y'all, it's Megan. Welcome back to the channel. Glad y'all are here today. Come spend the evening on the homestead with us. Me and Andy ain't been long, got off work and got a few things we gotta do this afternoon. So hope y'all enjoy it. First thing we gotta do, the goat pasture is part of our rotation for our cows and horses, which the grass is really slowing down. So we're moving cows and horses. There's a pasture here behind the raised beds to here. How we do that, we just put up one strand of wire in these temporary posts. They gotta come through the driveway. And we'll just bring them on through. Woo, cows!
Work up an appetite. Every time we make this move, somebody always gives us a fit. It's never been Candy before.
Everybody seems happy now that they're finally all over here. Well guys, we finally got the cows and horses moved. It's always some kind of goings-ons, and we forgot to put Lovey up because he came out with the cows, and then that was a fiasco trying to get him put back up because
I really wish she'd have had the camera on. I was walking Lovey like a wheelbarrow.
Because he's like a dog and you can't scare him, and then he just does what he wants. He thinks he rules this entire place. So Lovey's the goat, for those of you that may not know. But now finally they're over there. They'll stay over there about a week, and we'll let this grass rest a little more. But y'all, it's about done. It's looking pretty
It's been
shabby.
been extremely dry for the past month or so here, and the grass just ain't really done no catching up. It's just sitting there. When right now, really, if we'd have been getting rain, it would have been putting on a second growth, and it would be growing like crazy right now. But without the rain, it's not doing anything. So it's kind of looking like we might have to put our cows up in this sacrifice paddock a little earlier than normal, which means we'll be feeding more hay than normal this year. So I don't know. I'll keep my fingers crossed that don't happen, but we might.
So anyways, next on the list, I came down to feed the chickens and found a leaky water hose down here. Our goal eventually here is to run water lines and have spigots in these far corners of the pasture, but you know, life gets in the way. That's one thing we just hadn't had time to do. So
That's
anyways,
our number one goal this winter.
yeah. So we actually have a lot of water hoses ran here and there and yonder, and I found a leak in one of them that Andy's gonna fix, and he's gonna show y'all how to fix, because whether you live on a homestead or not, usually people use water hoses. Water hoses bust occasionally, and he's gonna show y'all a quick and easy way how to fix it. Right here at the T. See where it's muddy? I see now. I walked down here to the chicken jaw, and I saw this wet spot, and I know it ain't been raining.
I think I need to cut that whole thing off.
So, yeah, this water hose, you know, it's seen better days, but where I felt it leaking was around that clamp right there.
So, this is an extremely cheap water hose from Tractor Supply. You can see how it is like blowed out and everything. What I'm gonna do is just cut it off right here and just put that end back in it. I grabbed the wrong end because I thought it was the other end, but it's not. It's this end of the water hose. But I'm gonna cut it off. And now, these hose repair kits that we use, we actually get them off of Amazon, and they're actually some of my favorite ones because they're just plain and simple. They have a regular old hose clamp on them, and they are, I don't know what kind of metal that is, but you know, they're metal, not plastic, so they're a little bit heavier duty than some of the ones you buy. This one has gotten stuck inside there. We're about to get it. There we go. So right there is what they look like. That just slides up in your water hose end. Like that. Well, put your clamp on there first. Then slide that on there. Tighten up on it. And there you go. So see how I reused that end there? Right there is what a brand new one looks like. That's the female end of the water hose, and that one's brand new. It's never been used, but that's how they come. Have that little zip tie around them with the clamp, and you got the washer in there. Something else while we're talking about stuff. This little screwdriver right here, I actually picked it up off of Amazon too, just to keep in the side by side. And it switches out and it's got all different types of bits and everything in it. And it's just pretty handy to have as well. You know, you got your Phillips head and your flat heads. Got everything you'd about need on there.
Well, that's the way this was. It was plumb buried up in that mud.
Was it?
Yeah. Like, I had to dig it out to figure out where it was leaking at.
All right, let it go. Let me cut this off over here. I don't guess we even need this. Uh-oh, it's still leaking. You didn't fix it. That clamp is as tight as it can be.
Was it stretched out or something?
No, the water hose is so thin, it ain't mashing down enough to seal it off. I believe that's what's wrong.
I like the water off the seal.
Nope.
No, that's about what it was doing too.
Well.
But now it's like it, unless it's just running down, I guess. Slowed it down. Maybe. I guess it's coming from that still.
It is. Well, we got it as fixed as it's gonna get. This water hose is like so thin that there's not enough rubber. Hold the camera in here. I'll show them what we got. Do you see how thin the wall is on that water hose? There's not enough rubber there for that clamp to squeeze down and completely seal off around the end that we've put in there. So that's why it was leaking to begin with. But it's not leaking near as bad as it was. We're still getting a drip though. But anyways, looks like we're gonna be trying to find us a new water hose, which we're about out of the water hose season. It's gonna be getting to the point here before long where we gotta start cutting these things off. Right now we leave them on 24/7. So they've always got pressure on them. But
because the water spigot is way up on top of the hill.
yeah, nobody can ever remember to cut it on before they come down here.
Yeah.
So you get down here and you're like, oh shoot, we got to go back up there and turn the water off back on. So it just stays on all the time, and on occasion this is something we have to deal with. But we'll be getting us another water hose, or either just dealing with this like it is. It's not leaking terrible. We may just leave it be until maybe I can get some water lines buried pretty soon. But anyways, that's how you're supposed to fix water hose if you've got a good water hose. You don't always have a good water hose, and you make do with what you got.
Y'all can see how bad our grass looks. Struggling. The fall color's pretty though.
Yeah, they're
It's-
really changing.
Yep.
Fast. Next, we got one more thing we're going to try to get done before we go in the house and eat supper this evening. We've got a raised bed up here that's done. We're done with it, and we're going to put it to bed for the winter. And we've had a lot of questions. You know, people keep seeing my videos about the cover crops and all that stuff, where they're like, well, what if you just got raised beds? What do I do? Well, you can sow a cover crop on a raised bed too. That's no problem. But if you've got one little raised bed, or maybe shoot 8 or 10 raised beds, it may not be worth fooling with a cover crop. So I'm going to show you one quick, easy way to do it. And it's probably with stuff you've already got laying around. So these are the water hose ends I was just telling you about. They come just like this. That one right there is 2 ends screwed together, the male and the female end. And we keep like 2 boxes of these things around it all the time because we're always using one. And they really stay under the seat of the side by side. That's where they stay because, like she said, as many water hoses as we got running around here, you just never know when you're gonna come up on a leak.
If y'all were on our live the other night, heard me talk about my green beans coming back to life. Look at them. Look at them green beans. They look way better than they did this summer. So
They look really good. Look at these marigolds. These things are kicking it right
yeah.
now. They were little bitty things when we pulled the potatoes out of here. And since then,
They're beautiful.
they've exploded. So first thing we got to do is get our junk out of here.
You want these flowers out too?
Yep, everything. Look at that blackberry. It's
I
gonna
see
come
it.
plumb over here.
Right here it is too. I thought you pulled it up.
It come back out.
Oh.
Grab a hold of that tomato root or stand on the root.
You gonna pull my feet?
Stand on it.
I am. You gonna hit that fence?
I see it. Look.
What?
This thing's way over here.
Why is it over there?
Well, we don't want to cover that up.
This is gonna be a blackberry bed. I don't want it to be a blackberry bed. Guys, if you've seen what Andy just pulled up, so we had
Blackberry.
this. Well, we had this blackberry. It was just a stick, and Andy said just for the heck of it, he just stuck the stick down in the corner of this raised bed. Well, it made a blackberry vine. Long story short, he cut it off last year because we don't want a blackberry
No,
vine.
I actually pulled it up.
Oh, well, he pulled it up.
I
Okay.
pulled it up and give the blackberry bush to Grandma.
Oh, that's right. That's
Yeah.
right. And so, anyways, needless to say, it decided to come back to life tenfold and has run vines all up through this bed.
Apparently there was still a root left in there and it come off of that root, I guess. All right, so what we're doing now is the zinnias that were in this bed, I'm just breaking them up really small so they'll actually lay down. And you can do this with anything. Now I pulled the tomatoes out because just in case they had a disease or, you know, something in them, I didn't want that to be, you know, to stay in our bed. So, but these zinnias won't hurt anything. And what they'll do is they'll decay over the winter and just help out our soil here in the garden bed. So what we're going to do next, there's actually several different options that you can do next right here. And I've done it all different ways, but I'm going to try to show it is if you didn't have compost, you just had stuff that just about everybody's got laying around. So if I were doing this the way I would normally do it, I would go ahead and bring in a big old pile of compost and spread it out over top of everything here. I'd spread it out over top of these zinnias laying here, the whole 9 yards, and just let that break down. But being that we're going to pretend that we're somebody that don't have a ton of compost to be using, we're going to use cardboard. We're going to lay down cardboard right over top of this, and I'll show you what we do after that. This is an Amazon box like I'm sure about everybody has. The only thing you need to do to prepare it is pull off any tape that may be on the box, so that tape will not break down. Alright, that looks pretty clean. Yep, there's some more too. The next thing you're going to want to do is wet this cardboard down, and that's going to take a little bit, so we're probably not going to show you all that, but it'll take a lot of water to get this stuff to where it's soaked and saturated to where it'll actually lay down. Once we have it that way, then we're going to mulch over top of it with we're going to use hay, but we have plenty of hay. And so you could also use grass clippings from your yard. You could use the leaves off the trees. You could use wood chips. Whatever kind of something you have laying around that you could use for mulch works excellent. And this cardboard will help keep the weeds from coming up over the winter. And not only that, for whatever reason, earthworms love cardboard. And they'll come up and they'll start working that cardboard. And by next spring, this cardboard won't be here. The earthworms, we broke it down, and as they're traveling up and down eating the cardboard, they're also aerating your soil for you. So it's a win-win situation. So I've got a piece of bale of hay here that I had already used, and instead of breaking open a brand new bale of hay, I thought about something that I had laying over here that I think will make great mulch, and I'm going to show you all that in just a minute. What do you think about that? You ever seen anybody use corn stalks for mulch? We have a pile of corn stalks that we cut down from our cornfield that we didn't use for decorations, and I've just thought about it. I was like, they would make great mulch. Now they may not break down by springtime. That'll be the only issue here, but if you've still got your corn stalks standing in your garden, cut those things down and let's try this and let's see if this makes good mulch or not. I'm going to have to cut a little bit off of these to make them fit in the bed, but they're really leafy. They hold moisture once they get wet, and other than the stalk itself, the leaves will break down real quick. So I'm curious to see how this works. What do you think about my mulch? I'm not sure they'll break down before springtime, but if they don't, we'll just move them. I've done this instead of busting open another bale of hay. So y'all tell me if you think this is a crazy idea or not. I'm gonna soak these down and we'll find out next spring how this works. What my point being is, you can pretty much use any type of organic material that you have laying around as mulch. Usually as long as it's something that'll decompose pretty fast. Because a lot of times what I like to do is in the spring, with my mulch layer that's here, I'll just take and put a brand new layer of compost over top of that and then plant it directly into that. So I'm about to say that these won't be broke down enough by springtime to be able to do that. But we'll see, you never know. So the number one goal when putting your beds to rest for the winter is basically covering the soil up. That's really the number one thing. And you want to cover it up with something that will potentially break down and help build your soil for the next year. Now the corn stalks, that's all an experiment, y'all. But pretty much I would typically just use hay or something like that. And we cut our own hay, so I mean, we have plenty of hay. It's not like we're out buying hay, but even so, if Maggie, do it like rain. Don't do it like you're trying to wash it. No, hold it down. Hold it down on it. There you go. But, you know, it's not like we're going out and buying hay. But I mean, even if you do, in most places, at least from what I know, hay is only like $5 a square bale, $6. If you buy it from the right people. Now, if you go to the farm supply store and buy hay, I mean, you're probably going to pay no telling what for it. But, you know, if you find you a local farmer that's selling square baled hay, he's probably going to sell you square baled hay for $5, $6 a bale out of the field. Now, you may have to go pick it up. But, if you do that, you think about it, I could mulch at least, I could mulch that bed with a square bale, that bed, that bed. I could probably mulch at least three of our raised beds with a square bale. So let's just say at the absolute worst, I paid $8 for a square bale of hay. I mulched 3 of my raised beds with that square bale. So not only does the hay feed your animals, it feeds your dirt, your soil as well. I about messed up and called it dirt. But just keep that in mind. You got to think about it as feeding your soil, along with, you know, using that hay up. So I don't technically consider it wasted if I put hay out on the ground. Anyways, like I said, you can go out here and mow your yard, go around in a circle and blow all the grass clippings to the inside and create you a big old pile of grass clippings, and come out here and throw those grass clippings on top of your bed and just let it go. Grass clippings are full of nitrogen, so they make an excellent mulch for something like that. We're going into fall where the leaves are starting to fall. I mean, if you've got any trees around you, you can go out to the woods if you don't have trees in your yard and just gather up all those leaves. If you live near town, they always blow the leaves to the curb. I mean, I'm sure you can probably go by and pick up leaves on the curb. So anyways, that's just something to think about. You can do all this stuff right here with stuff that you already have. You don't have to buy anything to take care of your raised beds for the winter. But I guess that's about all we're going to try to do this evening, isn't it?
Yep. And guys, it's getting late in the evening. Like I said at the beginning of the video, me and Andy just got off work today. And so I'm just going to tell y'all, we could have very easily went and sat down in the house and watched Netflix or watch TV.
I would have been happy doing that.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying, we could have. Because people say, you know, I don't have time. A lot of people, you know, that's what a lot of people say anymore. People that we know personally, you know.
I don't have time because I have to work a job. That's
yeah,
exactly
I have
what
to
they
work.
say.
So y'all, I guess what I'm trying to say is it's just all in what you want to do. So this is what we want to do instead of watch Netflix. So
hey, and if you want to say it gets tart too early, we didn't video none of this, but I was out here planting those collards. Let's go over here and show. So you can't use the excuse that it gets dark too early either, because the other evening, it was probably 8 o'clock. I had the tractor headlights shining on this bed, and I filled this bed up with compost, and then went and planted these collards in here by the light of my tractor headlights. So I was determined to get it done. But anyways, just don't forget that. Getting dark early, I mean, that it is an excuse for a lot of things. You can't do everything by the light. But you can do some things with a light. And they make some pretty awesome lights nowadays. So you can light the whole world up if you need to. But any old ways, I guess our point is, if you want to do it, you'll find time to do it. If you don't want to do it, you won't.
Anyways, guys, we actually got a few more chores to do before it gets dark, but we're going to go ahead and end this video here, and we appreciate y'all watching. Hope you learned a little something. If this video encouraged you or taught you something, and you know somebody it could help, make sure you share it with your friends. And I'll drop a playlist also down in the description if you want to see all things garden and what our gardens have looked like through the summer. Hey. And y'all be sure to check that out too.
And it probably also taught you how to make a leaky water hose leaky again.
But anyways, guys, y'all have a good night, and we'll see you on the next one.
Have a good one, y'all.